Nobody expected the energy to shift like this. Not the fans. Not the cast. And definitely not the two men at the center of it all. 1 minute, Kirk Frost and Mendeecees Harris were standing shoulder to shoulder, cool, calm/mature pillars of the franchise. And the next, they're barely making eye contact, caught in a cold war so thick you can feel it through the screen. Season 13 didn't come to play. From the very first frame of that trailer, you can tell something is off. There's tension, but not the messy, over-the-top drama we're used to. This is deeper. This is betrayal wrapped in silence. And when the camera catches Kirk and Mendeecees in the same room, not speaking, not moving, just looking, the internet knew something was up. No bottles thrown, no voices raised. But the vibe was screaming. It all starts in a typical group scene, cast gathered, light banter, drinks in hand, cameras rolling. Everybody pretending like everything's cool. But then Kirk opens his mouth, and the moment the words leave his lips, the temperature drops. You can't be loyal only when it benefits you. He says it casually, like he's just making a general statement. But he doesn't have to name names. Everyone knows who that was aimed at, and Mendeecees, he doesn't flinch, doesn't smile, doesn't blink. He just leans back in his chair, folds his arms, and locks eyes with Kirk. Silence. Social media didn't miss a beat. Within minutes, Twitter was already on fire. Fans dissecting the body language, the eye contact, the way Mendeecees' jaw clenched ever so slightly, and then he hits back. Calm, ice cold. Loyalty goes both ways. That was it. No yelling, no chest thumping, just facts. Straight facts. Now, let's pause. Because if you've followed this franchise, you know these two don't beef. They've had their own mess, sure, but never with each other. If anything, they were the unspoken grown-ups in the room. They gave advice. They held it down. They showed up. So for this to happen, for this silent shade to unfold right in the middle of a cast conversation, something serious had to go down. Then we see Kirk in his solo confessional. He's not heated, he's measured, but his tone is sharp. Some people forget who was there when nobody else showed up. That's not a line for ratings. That's a line soaked in history, and whether it's aimed at Mendeecees or just inspired by him, it's hitting hard. Fans immediately connected the dots. Is Kirk mad because Mendeecees switched up? Did he feel abandoned? Did something go down off camera? The theories started flying. Some said business, others said personal. But one thing was clear, something had cracked. Then there's Mendeecees, back at home, venting to Yandi, and for once, the composed, quiet, keep it moving, Mendeecees lets the frustration peek through. I'm not about to sit in a room with people who talk behind my back and then smile in my face. It's raw. No theatrics. Just disappointment. And that's the part that hit the fans hardest. Because that kind of pain, that doesn't come from nothing. That comes from someone you trusted. The trailer skips ahead, another group scene. This time, it's the classic dinner setup. Cast members gathered around, food untouched, drinks poured, tension rising like steam. Kirk brings up something old. Something from way back. Something everybody assumed had been buried. But he digs it up, carefully, calculated, and Mendeecees, he cuts him off mid-sentence, voice still calm. Expression unreadable. If you got something to say it to me. Not through other people. Double quotes, boom. Everything stops. Nobody breathes. Even Spice, queen of messy interjections, stays quiet. Just watching. Then Kirk leans forward, eyes locked, not breaking contact. I've always been real. Maybe you just ain't used to that. That line didn't just sting. It sliced. Mendeecees doesn't react. He doesn't flip the table. He stands, slow, controlled, and he walks out. No yelling, no dramatic exit. But the silence behind him, deafening. Yandi calls after him. He doesn't turn around. The camera catches the moment. The whole cast just frozen. Not one person says a word. Scrappy mutters under his breath, damn, not them too. And Rasheeda quietly nods. They all feel it. This isn't a disagreement. This is a fracture, a real one. Cut to another confessional. Kirk again. He's leaning back, arms crossed. People show their true colors when the lights come on. He's not yelling, he's not even mad. He sounds tired, like this is something he's been holding for a while. That's when the viewers start choosing sides. Some ride for Kirk, saying he's been loyal too long and too quiet, and maybe now he's just fed up. Others are backing Mendeecees, pointing out how he's never really indulged in the petty stuff and doesn't deserve to be pulled into it now. But no matter the side, everyone agrees. This beef is different. It's not performative, it's personal. Then there's a blink and clipped, Kirk talking to Scrappy, leaning on a studio wall. Folks think just 'cause they did time, they above accountability. Fans lost it. The assumption was immediate, that was aimed at Mendeecees, and if it was, that's deep, that's not a jab. That's an open wound. Meanwhile, Mendeecees is venting to Yandi again, but this time, he's not even angry. He's done. I'm not explaining myself to people who pretend they don't know who I am. It's quiet. Real. That kind of fatigue that comes from dealing with fake smiles too long, and then comes that dinner scene. The one where everything teeters on the edge. Everyone's there. The whole cast. Fake laughs. Forced toasts. But the energy is thick. Kirk and Mendeecees are across from each other. Plates untouched, glances avoided. Mama D, never one to keep. Quiet. Breaks the silence. Y'all gonna keep acting like everything's cool when the energy say otherwise. The table stiffens. Rasheeda jumps in, trying to be the voice of reason. Maybe we just need to clear the air. Everybody's got their own version of loyalty. Kirk doesn't speak, just smirks. Mendeecees exhales, calm but direct. Some things don't need to be said twice. You show who you are by what you do. That's when the shift happens. The air changes. The rest of the cast watches, no one dares interrupt. Scrappy tries to joke. No laughs. Spice folds her arms. Bambi sips her drink, eyes down. The room's waiting, but nothing else comes. No one breaks, then another confessional. Kirk again. He leans forward. I don't regret anything I said. Folks get real sensitive when they know it's true. The fans erupt again, half praising him for standing 10 toes down, half dragging him for dodging real accountability. By now, it's obvious. This isn't just one tense moment. This is the beginning of a season-long implosion. And the last shot of part 1. Kirk and Mendeecees passing each other backstage. No words, no nod, no glance, just silence. Cold. Final dot. And sometimes that says more than anything. The silence after that dinner wasn't just awkward, it was haunting. You know, the kind of quiet that sticks to the walls after something real goes down. That's what lingered in the air, long after Kirk and Mendeecees exchanged those words and walked away like strangers. And now, the entire cast can feel the ripple effect. People started choosing their seats differently. Who they stood next to on set, who they texted after scenes, who they let into their circle. Because when two men like Kirk Frost and Mendeecees Harris stopped speaking to men who were supposed to be past all that petty TV stuff, it shakes the foundation. Back at home, Rasheeda is doing what she's done for years, trying to hold down her household while quietly playing peacekeeper, but even she can't ignore the shift. In one quiet moment, we see her and Yandi alone. No makeup, no lights, no filters, just two women trying to make sense of what their men won't say out loud. Rasheed, a sighs, deep and tired. I just want everybody to stop pretending like this ain't real. It's affecting everything. Yandi nods, slow and serious. Mendeecees doesn't like being disrespected. He holds it in, but he doesn't forget. And that line right there, it hit fans hard. Because for all the quiet, all the silence, these men are carrying weight. Heavy emotional weight. And the women, they're the ones catching it all, absorbing the tension, navigating the fallout while the men protect their egos. Twitter lit up after that scene. This is the most real Rasheeda has ever been, one fan wrote. Another said, Yandi and Rasheeda are the only ones acting like grown adults right now. Meanwhile, over at the barbershop, Scrappy sits with Kirk. At first, it's light, jokes, laughs, the usual, but it doesn't take long before the topic shifts. Scrappy, never one to tiptoe, dives right in. Yo, you and Mendeecees good? Or, is it just for the cameras? Kirk doesn't answer right away. He stares at his hands, jaw tight. Then he says it. It ain't for the cameras. I thought we had an understanding. But clearly, he sees things different now. Scrappy leans forward. Different how? Kirk's voice lowers. He forgot the times I stood up for him when folks was dragging him. Now he got a new crew, a new energy, and he don't even look my way. Boom, there it is. Kirk's not mad. He's hurt. Deeply. And fans picked up on that. Instantly. Kirk ain't the villain this time. Someone tweeted. He's a man feeling abandoned by someone he thought was solid. But hold up, because just when fans start siding with Kirk, the camera cuts to Mendeecees and Yandi walking through a park. It's a quiet moment, but the weight is heavy. You gonna talk to Kirk? Yandy asks. Mendeecees doesn't answer right away. Then he says, I don't need to talk to people who think they better than me. That line right there. That flipped the script. This wasn't just about loyalty. This was about power, ego, respect, and the fact that both men now feel like the other disrespected them first, and then comes the twist no one expected. Rasheeda shows up in a solo scene, meeting with Mendeecees. It's just them. No cameras rolling in their faces. No producers feeding lines. Just raw energy. JustRawEnergy.com. I don't know what happened between y'all. She starts, but Kirk's not gonna say it. He feels hurt, and when he feels hurt, he hides behind that pride. Mendeecees stares at her, unreadable. Then he says, hurt, or guilty. That line stopped everyone in their tracks. Was that shade? Was he accusing Kirk of something deeper? Was there more to the story? Nobody knows. But that pause, that silence, it was louder than anything else he could have said. And just like that, the internet exploded with theories. Fans combing through old episodes. Did they have a business deal that went left? Is this about something that happened off camera? Did Kirk really cross a line behind Mendeecees' back? The guesses kept rolling. Meanwhile, in classic messy franchise fashion, Spice brings the drama straight to the brunch table. She's sitting with Bambi, sipping on mimosas when she drops the bomb. I heard Kirk was talking to somebody who don't even mess with Yandy like that. Bambi raises her brow, eyes wide. Wait, who? And just when Spice leans in to whisper, the name, cut. Scene ends, fans went wild. Classic love and hip-hop cliffhanger. One viewer posted, they're really playing chess this season. So now the theories have levels. Is Kirk connected to someone from Yandy's past? Did he align himself with an enemy, intentionally or not? And if so, was it just business? Or was it something pettier, something deeper? And the energy keeps shifting. Yandy drops a line in her confessional that adds more fuel to the fire. I'm not the type to tell my husband what to think. But when someone starts acting different around you, notice she doesn't say Kirk's name, but she doesn't have to. Back at another group dinner, the cast tries again to keep things light, but the weight is everywhere. Kirk's eyes never meet Mendeecees. Mendeecees doesn't even acknowledge him. Everyone's walking on eggshells. That's when Mama D, once again, says what everyone's thinking. Ain't nobody gonna talk about the elephant in the room. The energy's off and I'm not crazy. She's loud, but she's not wrong. Rasheeda steps in, calm/composed. Everybody's got their own version of what loyalty means. Maybe we just need to clear the air. But this time, Kirk stays quiet, and then Mendeecees speaks. Some things don't need to be said twice. You show people who you are by what you do. That's not shade. That's a message, and the rest of the cast feels it. Scrappy tries to crack a joke. Nothing. Spice just watches. Bambi stirs her drink like she wants to disappear. Then a confessional. Kirk. Again. I don't regret anything, I said. People get real sensitive when they know it's true. And just like that, boom. Fans are split again. Kirk's deflecting Mendeecees too proud to talk. Rasheeda and Yandy are the only grown-ups left. And then the trailer drops its final punch. Kirk and Mendeecees walking past each other again. This time backstage. No nod. No look. Just air. Heavy, cold, and final. And that silence feels louder than any scream in the franchise. But this isn't over. Because behind the scenes, alliances are shifting. Cast members are choosing sides. Old interviews are being rewatched. Old favors remembered. Past betrayals resurfacing. And fans. Fans are buckled in for the fallout. By the time the next trailer drops, it's clear. This isn't just a cold war between two men. This is a silent avalanche swallowing the entire cast. The loyalty lines are blurred. The smiles are forced. And the unspoken tension. It's now controlling every room it enters. You'd think after all the sit-downs, the dinners, the almost conversations, something would finally break the silence. But it doesn't. Instead, the distance between Kirk and Mendeecees has grown so loud, it echoes in every scene they share. The glances are colder, the avoidance sharper, and the people around them, they've stopped pretending it's not happening. Rasheeda is watching it all from the sidelines. She's seen Kirk fight battles, seen him crash and burn, and rebuild his reputation piece by piece. But this quiet implosion with a man he once called a brother. It hits different in one of the most intimate scenes yet. Kirk and Rasheeda are back at home. The house is quiet. The energy is thick. You think I messed up? Kirk asks, "Lo?" Rasheeda doesn't answer right away. Then she exhales and says, "I think you let your pride speak for you, and I think you miss your friend." That moment, that line, sent shockwaves through the fan base. Because under all the shade, all the pride, all the reality TV silence, there's still a bruise. A friendship that meant something. Once, on the other side of the city, Mendeecees is having a different kind of conversation with his son. It's not about Kirk. Not directly. But the message. It cuts deeper than anything said in front of the cameras. "I don't teach my kids to follow anybody," he says. "I teach them to be men. And sometimes, that means walking away from people you used to call brothers." It's raw, it's real, and it's quiet, but sometimes the quietest moments carry the most weight. Then the tone shifts again. A new scene, Spice and Yandi sitting down, decompressing the latest chaos. Kirk acting like he the victim, Yandi says, arms folded. "But my husband never disrespected that man. Never." Spice leans in, calm but shady. Maybe Kirk mad cause Mendeecees stopped playing his game. And just like that, a whole new theory was born. Was this really about one moment? Or was Kirk used to a kind of loyalty where people fell in line and Mendeecees finally stopped? It doesn't help that now the cast is slowly dividing. People aren't saying it out loud, but they're picking sides. Some are checking in on Kirk. Others are pulling Mendeecees aside after filming. And everyone's trying to stay out of it, but also watching every second unfold. Then comes another studio scene. A moment everyone knew was coming, but no one was ready for. The group is gathered. Cast and crew in the same room. Kirk, Mendeecees, Rasheeda, Yandi. The energy is stiff. The air feels heavy. A producer steps in, gently. "Do y'all want to talk this out? On or off camera?" Both men sit still. Then Kirk breaks the silence. "I said what I said. Ain't nothing else to talk about." Mendeecees doesn't flinch. He simply replies, "Then stop saying it in rooms I ain't in." Rasheeda exhales, deep, like someone holding her breath for weeks. Yandi crosses her arms, her face unreadable. The room stays frozen. Nobody dares step in. Then Kirk stands. Not to fight, not to explain. He stands, nods to nobody, and walks out. But right before the door closes, he glances back. Just a second. Just one look. But that glance, it says everything. Regret, bitterness, maybe even a little sadness. The internet catches it instantly. That look was the softest moment in the whole trailer. Kirk ain't mad anymore. He's just done. They both care. They just can't say it. Then comes the final wave. A scene that changes the game. Kirk and Rasheeda. Alone again. This time, no tension. No anger. Just exhaustion. "I was trying to keep it solid," Kirk says. "But maybe I expected too much." Rasheeda finally says what we've all been thinking. "Or maybe you gave too much to the wrong person and never said how it made you feel." Cut to Mendeecees in a solo confessional. Voice low but steady. "I ain't mad at him. But I'm not gonna chase peace with somebody who don't see my worth. That's not pride. That's protection." And boom, just like that, we get to the root. This was never about one comment. Or one dinner. This was about unspoken expectations. Misread loyalties. Two men carrying unhealed wounds and refusing to be the first one to lay them down. One last group dinner gets teased in the final trailer clip. Spice clinks her glass. "Let's toast to clarity." The table laughs but it's hollow. Kirk sits quiet. Mendeecees avoids his gaze. Yandi and Rasheeda exchange looks like they've already rehearsed this scene in their heads. Then Kirk says, "You ever help somebody build something, only to watch them act like they built it alone?" Nobody responds. And then Mendeecees drops, the final bombshell of the night. "I'd rather lose a fake friend than keep a real enemy close." Silence. That's it. The cameras stay rolling. But the energy. Done. Nobody speaks. Nobody eats. Everyone's just waiting for the check and the credits. And then comes the closing montage clips of the cast dancing. Celebrating, joking around. The surface-level joy the franchise loves to show. But sliced between those shots are moments that matter. Kirk standing alone in the parking lot. Mendeecees looking down at his phone. Unread messages on the screen. Yandi wiping her eye in a confessional. Rasheeda watching her husband from across the room. No dialogue, just music. Just silence. Just truth. This isn't just a feud. This is the unraveling of something that once felt real. It's not a fight. It's a fracture, and sometimes that hurts more. So now we're left with the big question, can loyalty survive silence? Can brotherhood come back from betrayal, real or imagined? Or has season 13 just witnessed the final breath of a friendship that once anchored the chaos? Whatever the answer, one thing is clear. This season isn't just about drama, it's about distance, it's about pride. It's about two men who stopped speaking and said more than words ever could. And fans, they're locked in, watching every scene, reading every line, rewinding every glance, because when the yelling stops and the music fades, the silence is where the real story lives. And this season is built on it.